Okay, so firstly, you've had an amazing career, a lot of which has been kind of really relevant to AR and VR and spatial and Web3, which is kind of very much the area where Darabase concentrates its efforts. So, can you tell us a little bit more about your background and kind of how you've got to where you are today in your career?
Definitely. So I studied philosophy at university, which I feel like is quite a relevant starting point because my interest in technology has always been quite abstract, I would say, in the sense of less around the nitty-gritty of the tech itself, but more about the kind of the arc of where technology is headed and what form factors are going to be next and how we use tech, etc. So it's more of I guess, yeah, philosophical approach to tech, and that's what's kept me interested in all of this stuff over the years. And yeah, my first role was in media, and still find media, like traditional media, super interesting, and that led me to Google, and that was kind of, I think, like the first real kind of entry point into everything to do with platforms and ecosystems at broader scales, and spent a bit of time in the core business around ads and search, and then mobile kind of happened. Felt like it happened quite suddenly, and that was around 2014, 15, I think. So I spent a bunch of time working with developers and developing kind of our ecosystem around first mobile ads. Then I went into Google Play. And around that time, we were looking at what do we do with VR, and Cardboard had just kind of launched as initially a 20% project. And then everything to do with VR and AR kind of took off from there for me. And I spent the last, I would say, 6 years at Google, looking into everything to do first with VR, and then more specifically focused on AR. And then Google Lens as a kind of as one other relevant pillar to that whole space around kind of visual browser for the world, as we called it at the time, and I think probably still do to some extent.